The forest was silent, snow covering every inch of the ground, when Officer Mark Harris heard a furious barking echo through the trees. His canine partner, Rex, lunged toward a massive rock half buried in ice and dirt. Mark froze, unsure what had triggered his partner's unusual behavior. The dog's growls grew desperate, teeth bared, paws scratching at the frozen earth. Mark approached cautiously, his heart hammering. Moments later, when the last layer of snow and debris was cleared, Mark gasped. Beneath the rock lay something no one could have expected, something that made the entire police unit, and eventually the town, stand in stunned silence. Rex hadn't barked for nothing. He had uncovered a secret that would leave everyone in tears. The forest was blanketed in fresh snow, silence pressing down on Officer Mark Harris and his canine partner, Rex. Each step they took crunched softly against the icy ground, the cold air stinging Mark's face. The patrol had been routine, or so he thought, until Rex suddenly froze, ears erect, body tense, growling low. Mark paused, squinting through the falling snow to at first. He thought it was a false alert. A deer or fox could be hidden nearby, he reasoned. But Rex's eyes stayed locked on a massive rock, half buried in snow, pawing at the frozen earth with an urgency Mark had never seen. The dog's growls escalated into frantic barks, echoing through the silent forest. Mark approached cautiously, heart hammering, boots slipping on hidden ice. The forest seemed to hold its breath, every shadow twisting in the dim light. Snow clung to the trees, muffling distant sounds, leaving only the sound of Rex's barking and the cold wind. Minutes passed, tension mounting with every bark and paw swipe. Mark knelt beside Rex, whispering, "What is it, boy?" The dog whined, pawing harder, refusing to move away. Mark's instincts told him this was no ordinary alert. Something was hidden beneath that rock, and Rex had found it. Taking a deep breath, Mark grabbed his flashlight. "All right, Rex, let's see what's under there," he murmured, steeling himself for the discovery that awaited them. But Rex's frantic barking grew louder, more insistent, as Officer Mark Harris shifted the snow and debris around the massive rock. His gloved hands were numb, his breath visible in the frigid air. Each scrape of metal against frozen earth echoed through the forest, yet the dog never wavered, continuing to circle and paw at the spot with unrelenting focus. Mark's pulse quickened. He had trained with K-9 units for years and seen Rex alert for explosives, missing persons, and dangerous situations. But this was different. The intensity, the desperation, told him something was alive, or at least important, hidden beneath the frozen rock. "Hold on, buddy. We're getting there," Mark muttered, sweat mingling with snow on his brow. The storm pressed in around them, wind whipping through the trees, covering every distant sound. Mark worked carefully, clearing more snow, listening to the mix of Rex's frantic barks and the sharp crack of ice under the rock. The dog growled low, warning Mark not to approach too quickly, as if sensing the fragility of whatever lay beneath. Minutes stretched into an eternity as Mark paused. Glancing at Rex, the dog's eyes held unwavering focus, a mixture of fear and insistence. Mark's jaw tightened. "All right, show me," he whispered. The officer braced himself, shivering in the cold, for the revelation that Rex had been trying so desperately to uncover. With trembling hands, Officer Mark Harris removed the last layers of snow and ice from the massive rock. Rex paced nearby, whining, teeth bared, eyes fixed intently on the spot, as if urging Mark to hurry. Every movement of the dog radiated urgency and desperation, forcing Mark's heart to race faster with each scrape of the shovel. Finally, a piece of the rock shifted, revealing something hidden beneath. Mark's breath caught. A body, partially covered in snow, frozen and still, lay crumpled in the shallow depression. The air seemed to thicken around him, the forest holding its breath, the sound of the wind fading in his ears. Rex barked sharply, nudging the body with his nose, refusing to leave the side of the discovery. Mark knelt carefully beside the frozen figure, shock and disbelief coursing through him. His fingers brushed away snow, uncovering a face pale and lifeless. Memories of missing person reports from the past weeks flashed in his mind, chilling him to the bone. Backup officers arrived, their expressions grim as they took in the scene. The once silent forest was now filled with hushed murmurs and the low growls of Rex, who remained vigilant beside the body, refusing to leave. Mark whispered, "Good boy. You found them." The magnitude of the discovery hit him. Rex had not barked at a rock. He had uncovered a secret that would leave the entire town in tears. The missing person's family arrived at the scene, faces etched with worry, hope, and disbelief. Officer Mark Harris watched them cautiously, his eyes never leaving Rex, who remained alert beside the uncovered body. The reality of what the K-9 had discovered began to sink in. This wasn't just a routine call. Rex had led them to a secret buried for weeks, a truth hidden beneath snow and rock. Forensic teams arrived, cameras flashing, taking notes and photographs. Investigators carefully documented the scene, brushing away remaining snow to preserve evidence. Each step highlighted the precision and importance of Rex's actions. Without his relentless alertness, the body might never have been found. The family gathered around cautiously, tears streaming down their faces as they recognized their loved one. Mark felt a pang in his chest, understanding the gravity of the moment. He gently patted Rex, whispering, "You did more than your job today, boy." As the investigation continued, the K-9's training became the center of attention. Rex had responded not to instinct alone, but to a keen understanding of danger and distress, demonstrating loyalty and intuition that saved time and lives. By nightfall, the forest seemed quiet again, yet the story had traveled beyond its trees. News of Rex's discovery spread through the town, highlighting the courage of a dog who had refused to remain silent, and a police officer who trusted his partner's instincts against all odds. The next morning, Officer Mark Harris returned to the station, Rex at his side, both exhausted yet alert. Word of the K-9's discovery had already reached the town. Reporters crowded the police station, cameras flashing, eager to capture the story of the dog who refused to stop barking at a rock until the truth was uncovered. Mark recounted the events, describing the frozen forest, the blizzard, and Rex's persistent insistence on investigating the spot. He explained how the dog had refused to leave the body's side, growling softly to protect it from the elements until backup arrived. The journalists listened, wide-eyed, some shaking their heads in disbelief. By afternoon, the community responded with overwhelming support. Social media posts celebrated Rex's heroism, locals brought treats and toys, and the police department recognized the dog officially for bravery. Children visited the station, eager to see the hero dog in person, while veterans and officers praised Rex for his loyalty and courage. Mark knelt beside Rex, gently scratching behind his ears. "You saved more than a life, buddy. You reminded everyone what loyalty and courage truly mean." Rex barked once in acknowledgement, tail wagging proudly. For the first time since the blizzard, Mark felt a swell of pride, not just for the town or the investigation, but for the four-legged partner who had refused to give up, no matter the cold, the storm, or the danger. Months later, the forest where the discovery had taken place was quiet once again, blanketed in the gentle hush of winter's end. Officer Mark Harris walked alongside Rex, now calm and confident, tail swishing lazily through the snow. Each step through the familiar path brought memories of that fateful day, the blizzard, the frozen rock, and the unwavering determination of his K-9 partner. Mark paused, looking down at Rex. The dog's eyes met his, warm and attentive, as though understanding the depth of what they had faced together. "You did more than your job, buddy," he whispered, his breath forming clouds in the cold air. "You saved a life and gave a family closure they never thought possible." The story of Rex's heroism had spread through the town, inspiring children, veterans, and civilians alike. Letters and messages poured into the station, praising the courage and intuition of the brave K-9. The bond between officer and dog had grown unbreakable, each trusting the other implicitly, forged through peril and shared purpose. As the sun set, casting golden light through the trees, Mark knelt and scratched Rex behind the ears, feeling gratitude swell in his chest. Narration: sometimes heroes don't wear badges. They have four legs, a heart that refuses to give up, and instincts that lead us to truths we never could have found alone. The camera pans out, showing man and dog together, a testament to loyalty, courage, and the silent heroism of K-9's.